Hey everyone, so I've been getting a lot of questions about when is the next video, how is the car running, have you put it on a dyno, and etc. And I've been asking those questions myself. And although the car was assembled back in at the start of the summer, the car has not been running a lot. First of all, I've changed jobs, so there was a bit less time that I had to work on the car. Furthermore, I have some other things that require money and my time, so the car was not a priority. But the major part on why the car is still unfinished is because, well, the car itself has not been cooperating with me. The first running of the car actually showed some positives. However, there were also some problems that needed to be sorted. So yeah, got the car out to the outside finally, and there is one slight problem. There is a leak of coolant right here, but I've tightened the clamp and hopefully that fixes it. It's not a lot, but it drips every couple of seconds or so, so need to fix that. And the rest seemed to be okay. There was slight oil leak from here, just like weeping, but I've tightened this, so hopefully that also is fixed. And another good thing is that actually after cleaning this out, the mesh was very dirty, had a lot of things in there. I don't even recognize what kind of things they were. They're just a sludge, not metallic, but maybe the burnt oil, I don't know. But after cleaning that, the power steering pump seems to be happy right now, and actually the steering feels lighter than before, so hopefully the power steering is fixed, because I was planning on searching for another pump. And like running wise, there are two problems, I would say. The first one, that the engine idles quite high, like 1500 RPM, and it doesn't drop a lot with you know, heating the engine up, and it should idle at 750, I think, or 650 actually, for a stock engine. So I've got a problem, and I think one might be that the throttle body is open too much on idle, so I can adjust that. And another possibility is that I have an air leak from somewhere, so maybe these vacuum hoses, or maybe one of the injectors is not sitting correct and is actually, you know, drawing air into the engine. And the second thing is that it's still running lean, especially once there is some load. I've tried adding more fuel, but I need to add a lot more. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Need to go to the gas station, fill her up, wash it and then try to tune it a bit, at least for drivability. It makes sense now why the engine was not very happy when I shut it off. It was barely keeping itself idling, and that is because all of the plugs are very fouled, which means that it was running rich probably, or there is something wrong with the ignition itself. So that's not good, because the lambda was pretty good. So I don't know, I think I'll try to put new plugs in and check everything once again, because these are some old plugs that I've used temporarily, so I'll be putting back the proper ones. Then at the beginning of August, I was invited to participate in an event organized by Build Me Up, which was called Drift and Grill Back to the Roots, and it was supposed to be at the end of September. And so I've tried to prep the car for that event, but spoiler alert, I didn't make it. What I want to do is, first of all, seal the ECU box, because when I added this Arduino, it kind of sits higher than the top of the lid. So I 3D printed this like additional roof, which will go on like so. I'll epoxy it. I got a small hole shaped for the wire that connects to the laptop when tuning. So yeah, epoxy this to seal it up from the weather. It's not very nice. It also the print came off a bit from the build plate, but it is a temporary solution, because as you can see, this lid is actually already kind of messed up. So I'll redo it a bit later once I'm not in a hurry. Now, another thing that was actually one of the main reasons why I didn't map it properly was because, well, this air filter does not fit, because the relay and fuse box is kind of in the way, and I didn't have 3-inch pipe or silicone, so I tried to put it temporarily like so, but of course it fell off onto the manifolds and actually burnt the filter material off, destroying the filter in the process. So this is junk right now, but I bought a new silicone elbow, some 3-inch pipe, and a new filter, so hopefully I can fit it roughly in this area with, you know, a slight bend. We got the filter on, so I used a 65, I think it is, degree elbow, cut it very short on both ends, then added a very short, I think 7 centimeter straight aluminum pipe, and then the filter, and it fits like perfectly. There's like only a couple of millimeters in all directions, and I think it's not sitting too high. The hood should close. Then a week before the event, we tried to map the car. However, the mapping session actually finished before even starting due to a massive fuel leak. No mapping today. Fuel is water falling down the engine.
There seems to be a theme with this.
Will we ever learn? Then, after fixing the fuel leak, the car seemed to have an intermittent misfire, which was caused by a bad ignition map or a bad fuel map, or so I thought at that time. Then, due to unfavorable weather conditions, the repairs have been postponed to just before the event. So how is your evening going? Well, for me, it's like this. Tomorrow at 11, I need to be in Mariampole, which is like 70 kilometers away, and the car is still acting up, having some misfires or fuel mixture problems, which I'm trying to troubleshoot, but I don't know where is the problem. So now what I'm doing is actually swapping over a few parts that I know are good from the Purple IS200. So one of the things is that I'm going to change the battery and the negative terminal to the green IS200s, because that is one part of this car that has had some problems previously, and I don't know if I fixed them. Then I'm going to take the spark plugs out and check them, because previously they were fouling up, probably from a bad mixture, but could also be a misfire problem. And the third thing is that the lambda sensor, I'm not sure if it is reading correctly, so I'm going to change the lambda sensor to a known good one. But there is another problem, that there is an exhaust leak over there, so possibly the lambda sensor is getting a bad reading, because there is air coming in from that exhaust leak, and maybe there are others. So yeah, I'm trying to troubleshoot. I don't know how it will go. Maybe we'll have to tow this car to Mariampole tomorrow. Wish me luck. I don't know if the camera will focus on the spark plug, but I think you can see that the ceramic on the spark plug is pretty white. It was a lot darker before, so this side is a bit darker as it was previously. So I had a suspicion that the actually lambda gauge was showing leaner than it was actually, but spark plugs tell me that it was actually good or lean, definitely not rich, which means that my problem is either timing, or it was too lean, which it was, but it wasn't too lean, or at least I thought so. So I guess I'll assemble everything back together with the new battery and the negative terminal, and see if that helped in this case, and if the misfire is gone. But first I'll check the other spark plugs. Maybe one of the cylinders is not doing so well. So yeah, it's 12:30 and I'm still here. So I've tried adjusting the map, checked the timing, got even more confused. So left the timing by what it seemed the engine was happy with, but once I got out to the road to test it out, a couple of minutes later it started to run very poorly, and it was pretty much unable to drive back. And while I was waiting, thinking of solutions on what to do, I've actually noticed that there was like boiling sounds coming from the engine. So possibly this has a blown gasket once again, and it seems that it is only happening on a hot engine. While it is cold, it doesn't seem to have any problems, but once it gets to the full temperature, it starts to run very poorly, and yeah, just boiling sounds from the cooling system. And of course it is pressurized, so you could maybe see some splatters of coolant around. So I don't think this car will be driving on its own all the way to Mariampole. So what happened? Well, obviously the head gasket was damaged, and the cylinder pressure is escaping into the cooling system. And since I've used an unknown engine that I got with the car, the head gasket might have been damaged before it was even in this car. Then also I could have pushed the engine too hard at first when it was still running a bit lean. And lastly, I was still battling with setting the ignition timing. But there were also some positives. The sound. To me, the sound is amazing. It is even better than I actually imagined. And the video does not represent the actual sound that you can hear while standing next to the car, because you either get the induction noise from the turbos or the exhaust sound, and in real life you can hear both at the same time, and it just sounds amazing. Also, the boost. It has a pretty good boost threshold, having reached full 0.65 bar boost at 3750 RPM in second gear, which is actually better than I anticipated because, well, uh, there was a reason why Toyota on later 1GZ GTE engines used a single turbo instead of two. And finally, since I'll be needing to take the head off this engine, it might be the perfect time to add something we've had for quite a while. It is a decompression plate.
So the decompression plates have arrived. Let's see what they're about. Seems to be well packaged. Nice.
By adding that thin metal plate and sandwiching it between two head gaskets, you can lower the compression ratio to around 8.5 to 1. This allows to run the engine at much higher boost levels. Polish fellas run these engines with the compression plates up to 1.2 bar boost, reaching around 320 horsepower. Obviously, the fuel system will need an upgrade. Even bigger injectors and an aftermarket fuel pump will be needed. So this is where the car is. Obviously, it is not at a position where I would have wanted it to be, but that's how sometimes it goes. But the winter is long, and during it, I'm very hopeful to finish up some things that I have omitted during the rapid assembly of the car. There are still some brackets and small things that I want to do, but I haven't done them because I didn't have time for those. And just don't rush it and do it properly so the engine does not explode once again. And probably there won't be quick updates on this car soon, but we will be starting to do some work on the green IS200, trying to prep it to be a proper race car. And that's it for now. Goodbye till next time.